Oh, go right ahead.
Oh, good. So when this discovers that it's whole, even though it's always been whole, like is it always grief? Does grief always come up, or is that just a is there no rules?
Yeah.
Like if someone awakens to their to the wholeness, and they've never heard of it before, do they go through grief? Like, is there grief that comes up, or is it just pure love? You know what I mean? Because it happened here. Like, I've been going through a lot of grief.
Yeah.
Here, there's this grief coming up, and I know it's just this, but it also feels like it's just par for the course, and it's almost expected. So when it comes, I'm not surprised.
So
I mean, there's no shock. Like, oh yeah, there's grief. Okay, like there's a seeing that it's understandable.
yeah. And we can also ask, whose grief is it?
Yeah, yeah. Like it feels all encompassing, really.
Right, but
Doesn't
when Nkosi and I were talking a couple days ago, he said something to me at the beginning of our conversation. He said, it's my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, my car, my house. You know, the my has its, little hand in everything. And it's just not true. It's just,
yeah. It it's a real deep spell. It's a spell. It feels like, but even that's this too.
well, let's see. Nkosi, are you back?
Oh,
You
he
really
popped
don't know
in.
what, I'm not kidding when I say you don't know what's going to happen.
Spontaneous.
It really is. I know it could be a feeling of, Nkosi, are you back? Unmute.
I see him.
Yeah. Sorry for that. Network problems. Yeah, it's just what's happening. It's just what's happening. Seems to be happening. So this can never be known. This can never be understood. This can never be gotten because it's already this. It's already everything. Appearing as anything. Appearing as blinking, thinking, the room. It's already everything. And there is no escape, in a sense that everything that seems to be happening is already this. No matter what shape or form it may appear to be, it's simply this. And this is already unknowable. And there is nobody here who knows this. There's just this appearing as this. So everything is okay. There is that sense of okayness with what seems to be happening. And this doesn't mind because every expression is already this. And there is no real knower. There's just what is, totality appearing as a knower. So there is already no separation. There is nobody who knows, or somebody who doesn't know. There's simply this. So if there are questions or any comments, yeah, welcome.
I've asked this question before, but so I can't know this because this is everything. And so there's no separation. So I can't know it. Can the everything without separation know itself or know anything?
There is already everything. And appearing as somebody who's asking a question, appearing as somebody who's giving an answer. Everything in the story, it may appear as if there's somebody who knows about everything, but that's just the story, Somebody may appear to teach, saying, "Oh, I know everything, I experienced it, I know it," but that's just the story, It's somebody who knows, which is also everything appearing as that. So there is no separation. Everything as it is already unknowable. It can never be known because it's not separate from itself. It's already everything.
But this, so that everything you're referring to, can it know itself without separation?
I don't know how to put this. It may appear to know itself, not as separate, not as in there's somebody who's separate. It may appear to know itself as everything, But if there's somebody who thinks that it's separate, is also it appearing as that too. So somebody who thinks is separate from everything, who thinks they are others, is just this appearing as that. It's just a story which is appearing in this. Yet this, when it sees itself as it is, it knows itself as everything. There is no separation. It doesn't say the other. It says itself. But if it appears that there's separation, it's just totality dreaming itself to be separate from itself. There is really nobody who's outside of totality who can become one with totality. It's just totality, everything appearing as that. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
No, it got pretty close. I got an answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. Nkosi. You know, like how Jesus, he could just heal people. Like he was this self-realized, right? He was no longer a person. Like right? That's why he's so great in the history books. And so he became self-realized, meaning he knew that there was nobody here. Like, not that he knew it, but there was just this knowing. So it appears that other people are witnesses of this nothingness. It appears that way. You know, some people are, they appear to know nothingness, and then some other people appear to not know. I almost forgot what I was going to. Oh. So Jesus was healing people, apparently. And I'm wondering if once this is realized that there is nobody here, how does healing occur? How does that apparently happen? What is healing anyway? Is it physical, or is it just like a dissolving of the me? Is that what healing is? There's a lot of
Well,
questions in
healing
there.
is just okay. It's fine. Healing is it's just a story. It's just this expressing as healing. You know, this what is as everything realized or recognized itself in that body named Jesus. So yeah, but there was no real Jesus who was doing anything. No, it was just this recognizing itself that it has never been an individual. It's not separate from everything. It's just one with everything.
Correct. But the me's, all the me's look upon Jesus, and then they see another me, because that's all they can see. Like they just see Jesus as another special me, a special, separate
Yeah.
me. And so they look at all of the healing he did, and interpret that as like really magical. And it's misunderstood, right? Because, or is it just magic appearing in this?
Yeah, everything is already beautiful. You know, no matter what shape or form it may appear to be, the story itself. That was just the story appearing in this, appearing as it was just this appearing as Jesus was healing people, preaching, or if he was preaching, you know.
Yeah.
There wasn't any real separate somebody who was doing anything. It was just what is this appearing as that.
Right. So it's the perception here that needs to be seen. The illusions have to be seen through here. That there's no other. And yet I'm seeing others all wanting to learn how to heal. I'm seeing a lot of others wanting to heal others. And the desire to heal others here is not big. So there's a feeling of like there's something like, if everybody else wants to heal, why don't I want to heal? Kind of attitude. And yet there's a seeing that there are no others. So now there's a conflict about what my old desire was to heal people. Like it doesn't feel as authentic anymore. It feels like the bottom dropped out. And now I'm not sure what's happening about healing. Like who are the others? Am I seeing sickness? Am I making it real? And then I got to try to get rid of it. How can you get rid of something that's real? You can't. And if it's an illusion, then it's not there. So the whole
Yeah.
the whole idea around sickness is everybody's trying to get rid of it. Like it's the plague or something. And yet that too is this. So where's the problem?
Well, there is no problem. There is no problem, you know. When it is recognized that there is no individual, you know. So the story itself is seen as just beautiful. There's really nobody who's trying to get rid of the story. When this sees itself as it is, you know, it doesn't mind what seems to be happening. You know, everything is seen as just a dream. So there may be the story itself may seem to be enjoyed. You know, there may be, if somebody says I'm sick, you know, we attempt to heal, you know, having that recognition that it's just a story, it's just a dream anyway, you know. It won't be so intense, you know, it won't be taken seriously, as in when there seems to be somebody who's a doer, who's healing people. The recognition that there's nobody here, when it arises that there's somebody who's sick, you know, this may continue, try to heal, but having that recognition that it's just a dream, it's not taken seriously as if there's somebody there who's really facing any sickness, you know. So right now, there's nobody there who's even listening, who's even asking any question, who's even thinking. There's just thinking happening, asking of a question happening, wondering happening, confusion happening, suspicion happening. You know, it doesn't belong to anyone. It's just what appears in this.
No.
So the searching, the thinking, the wondering is not for you. Because there isn't a you there who's doing that. Even when there's going to the loo, there's just going to the loo. There isn't anybody who's going to the loo. There isn't anybody who's taking any decision to do anything. There's just simply this, which is appearing as everything, appearing as somebody asking a question, appearing as somebody who's confused, not getting it, getting it. It doesn't really matter. If somebody appears to be sick, there may be action that may be taken as a result of that. It doesn't mean that if that action is taken, there is somebody who's taking an action. It's just what appears in this.
Mhm.
So this doesn't mind. And this doesn't know the other. It knows itself as everything.
If it, it doesn't know me as me. But since there is an appearance of me and there is a belief that there is a me, as which is appearing out of all this, then does this love or know or love me as its expression of just the one?
First of all, there isn't a you. That which is talking right now is already this. It's already everything. Same as there's talking here. This talking is just one thing. That which is talking there is already this, which is talking, is already that which can appear to ask a question, is already that which appears to think, it's already that which appears to smile. It's already everything. It's not separate. It doesn't recognize you as real because it's not separate. It's everything, which also appears as a you who's asking a question, which also appears as this giving an answer.
So it's not experiencing me as a separate person, but is it experiencing it seems like it's got to know me in its wholeness. If the wholeness is aware, then that everything would have to be aware of this, which is no separate than that.
It doesn't say the other, it says itself. So there's no judgment as a result of that. Because it is seen that there is nobody to judge. There's nobody outside of this. This doesn't say the other, it says itself as everything.
Isn't knowing something that is pertinent to the mind? Like when I think of knowing, I think of human beings that where knowing is what happens to deal with questions or to understand. And the desire to understand is met with knowing, or at least with the illusion of knowing. Whereas, when we talk about this, is more of a being than a knowing.
Yeah, there is no separate knower. There is no separate knower. This is already nothing as it is. Being everything. So it's not separate already. Because there's already nobody who's outside of this to know this. There's already everything. So it doesn't really say the other, it says itself. in a sense that it's already everything.
Reflecting back on Don's question, it almost comes from a place where this is made into a thing, whereas this is not a thing.
Yeah, it's not a thing that can be pointed at, you know. But what appears to be things is just this appearing as that.
Right.
In the story, it may seem as if there are things, different people, but also that too is just nothing appearing as that, appearing to be something, which is really not something, it's nothing. So this, as it is, may take any direction, you know. It may go to the left, go to the right, go up, go down. It doesn't really matter.
Nkosi, uh, would it be inappropriate for me to ask you if you had a shift or when you saw things the way that you do? Was there an incident or were you always like that?
Yeah, here there was a recognition that because there was an intense seeking that was happening here all over the years, all the years. Like there was really that this wanted to know who God was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It wanted to know God in the sense that it had to change churches, move from that church to another church, really having that desire to know God. And then there used to be, okay, I left the churches and then I had to like do the meditations, sit alone. There were glimpses along the way that were happening. That's a sense of detachment, being detached, like seeing the character moving up and down, taking decisions. These were one of the glimpses, you know, along the way. But when that recognition happened here, it was seen that the one who was seeking, reading books, sitting alone, was never there. That's what never happened. It was just everything which dreamed itself to be separate from itself, appearing to do that, to see, to go up and down, you know. It was already this appearing as that. There wasn't anybody, there wasn't any real Nkosi who was doing any of that, which right now as well, if it appears that there is that seeking energy, it doesn't mean that there's a real somebody who's doing that. It's just also totality appearing as that, of which there may be, because of what is being spoken, there may be collapsing or recognition that there isn't anybody there already who's doing anything. It's just this, which is everything appearing as that. So already in the midst of searching, going up and down, there's already nobody. Here it is seen that there's nobody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what may happen. Anger may arise, frustration may arise, peace, love, joy may arise. You know, anything is allowed to be as it is without judgment. There's no judgment because there is nobody to judge. So if it appears that there is something that doesn't like anything, or there's something that likes something, it doesn't really matter here because it's just everything appears like that. Oh, I love this message. I hate this message. You know, it doesn't it doesn't matter because it's already everything appearing as that. So the story itself is beautiful. You know, if it appears to be a war story or a parliamentary story, church story, planetary story, UFOs, spaceships, aliens, you know, it doesn't matter because everything is already this. And
That
this, what it is already wordless. There is no word that can really describe what this is. This is unknowable. What seems to be a description arising in this right now, it's really no description. It's just this appearing as that. There is no real word that can actually describe what this is. So description is really meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Life is meaningless. But it may appear in the story or in the dream that there is a certain meaning, but there's no meaning. You give it a meaning. This everything is meaningless already. And everything is going nowhere.
oh,
And this is no meeting. But it may arise that, oh, we're in a meeting, but this doesn't mean anything. There's nothing happening here. But it seems as if there's something happening, but it's really nothing happening.
Is this a good time to ask a
It
question?
seems as if it's
Oh.
okay.
No worries. I'm just, if everything is equal and the same, within this, then all spiritual appearances, like spiritually, like evolved people and all of the appearances of spirituality are null and void then. Like there's no more spiritual people than others. That's all gone. Is that correct? Like the differences, like how you can tell if somebody's spiritual or not. Or if they're on the path or they're seeking. I mean, everybody's seeking, but it appears that
Yeah.
there's higher evolved souls than other souls. Is that all just null and void?
Yeah. This, as it is already unlimited or limitlessness. I don't know how to put it. It's unlimited. You know, it may appear as anything. It may appear as a higher soul. You know, it may appear as astral projection, somebody who's leaving the body, flying, going to visit other dimensions and coming back. You know, it may appear as different frequencies. It may appear as anything, different planets, different dimensions, multiverses, you know, but that is just a story. You know, it's just a story. It's this appearing as that, but it is a story here. It's seen as just a story. And it's not to say that that shouldn't happen, you know. Everything here is allowed to be as it is. There's no judgment. Every expression is already this, you know. So if it appears that there are souls that are higher than other souls, that's what's happening. There's no wrong or right there. The story is okay because the story itself has nobody in it. It's just a story. It may appear as if it has somebody. There's somebody who's in the story who's trying to fix this and that, who has gone through a lot in life, but it's
Like
what
the
appears
savior
in
of the
this.
world.
Yeah,
So how
the
many
savior of the
people,
world.
how many does it take to save the world? I heard this joke. It's not really a joke, but how many does it take to save the world?
Yeah,
And the
but the good
answer
news is this.
apparently is one, because that one will realize that there is no one.
Or no world.
And
And the world doesn't
Yeah.
need to be saved either.
right. Yeah. That there is no one and there is no world. And that's the only one that can save the world. It's an oxymoron, but it's kind of neat.
What I hear Nkosi saying is that everything is null and void. Everything is already nothing, because anything that you can think of, anything that you can say, anything that you could put is a story. And stories are already not happening. They are already not anything. So you can ask the question endlessly, is what about this? What about that? And it's always the same. Everything is simply this that has no name, no form of any kind that we can hold on to. And that doesn't mean that the stories aren't there. The stories are still, so if you talk about spiritual people, maybe there's in a story, maybe there are spiritual people and some are more than others. Maybe in a story, like maybe, Michael Jordan is better at basketball than someone else, than the kid on down the block, or was. I'm dating myself here, but you know, so yeah, we can have all these stories of spiritual people and aliens, like he's saying, and all these stories can be, you know, true as stories, but it's all already not anything. It's already not happening except as a story. And this is not a story. This is there's no story to this. Anyway, Nkosi can speak for himself, but that's what I, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
But it's important. I mean, we find ourselves keep saying this over and over again, and keep repeating and keep responding, because the story is so, it seems so real, and it's such a big story. It doesn't seem like it's a story. So,
Unlimited stories.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we buy into them to various degrees. We consider them true. It's amazing when you go out and talk to people, how often people talk as if their story were facts. And when you look at it, you know, it's something somebody said somewhere or that we read or it's on the internet, you know.
And we buy into them at various degrees is also a story.
Right.
We we believe these things. The whole thing is a story. Everything is a story. That's the thing. And that's doesn't make it wrong, just makes it a story. Makes it interesting.
Yeah. Even talking about this is a story.
Yeah. But I like to talk about it because there's
About.
also about.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
No.
so this, as I always say, this is already wordless. You know. So it's whether there is talking happening or no talking happening, you know, it doesn't matter to this because it's already everything. So talking about it is beautiful. You know, it's okay. There's no wrong or right. You know, even though it may be seen as just also a story appearing in this, since this is already wordless. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Every expression is beautiful. In a way, questions, when there is a recognition that everything is this, questions may seem not to arise. You know, that which seems to ask questions, it somehow it seems to dissolve, and the recognition happens that everything is just this. But if questions appear, it's also this as pressing as that too. It doesn't mean that when question arise, now it's never this. It's something outside of this, or somebody hasn't recognized this. There's already nobody who can recognize this. This recognizes itself that it has never been a separate self. It has always been itself as everything. Now, the recognition is not for anyone. It's not for somebody that I recognize it. I know it. I recognize it. I. There's no I. There's just everything. I've got it. Or I've lost it. Is also this appearing as that. I think I'm losing it. Today, I didn't get it at all. I was so confused, I was so lost. Today, the meeting was off, was thumbs down. That's this appearing as that. So anything may arise here. This doesn't mind. It doesn't mind. And it's already shameless. There's no shame. Yeah. Shame has to do with being somebody. How can nothing become shameful? How can nothing be afraid? How can nothing even die? How can nothing be born? So this is already the unborn, the undying. It's shameless. It's free. Total freedom itself. It's so free to be anything. So free to appear, excuse me. So free to appear as a you who's asking a question, who wants to know this. It's so free to appear as birds flying to the room, the microscopic creature moving around, the spaceship, the moon, stars, darkness, lights, religion, spirituality, demons, angels. It's already everything. It's already everything. So you can never be possessed. You can never be controlled. You can never be destroyed. You can never die because there's no you. There's just everything. In the story, if it appears that there's somebody, if this dream itself to be separate somebody, in the story, it may seem as if there are some demons who are trying to attack that certain somebody. But but when that certain somebody dissolves and it is recognized that there wasn't anybody, then those demons, they just suddenly disappear because it's just a story. It's just a story. It doesn't need to be taken seriously. It may be taken seriously if they seem to be belief that I'm somebody who's living life. I was born one day, of which all that is just a knowledge in the memory. It's just an information. There's no real separate somebody. But those beliefs may seem to be a stumbling block somehow in the way of that illusory separate self, which is also a totality, also expressing as that. They call them negative beliefs. You believe yourself to be a woman or a man person. If they say something about we women, then you may be affected. Oh, I don't like it. If they say something about men, you may seem to be affected. And then you're not a man, you're not a woman. There's nobody here. It's just everything. But those beliefs are also an expression of this. So anything may arise, any decision might be taken. If somebody decides to meditate, that's okay too. If somebody decides to, mantras or whatever, that's okay. There's no wrong or right here. Anything is accepted as it is. There's no judgment. This message doesn't say that that should be done, that shouldn't be done. No, it says that there's simply what's happening. There's just this, which is nothing appearing as everything. And there's nobody, there's no doer of anything here. Even when it appears as if there is a doer. So this right here is not a man or a woman. This is everything. And that too is already everything. Sometimes here, the language that is normally used here, since Nkosi is from Africa, the language that is normally used is Zulu. So sometimes when questions are asked, English is my second language. So sometimes questions when they're asked, they may be somehow misunderstanding of the question, but this may try its best to like give a proper answer, apparently. So yeah, I thought I should say that.
Hmm.
So, Nkosi, how do you get more of this? Meaning, how do I mean this? So I'm a seeker, big time seeker, and do lots and lots of practices. And I get benefits in that area of what I'm practicing. I'll get a benefit in that story. In this story that we're telling, this pointing to, what I'm assuming there must be some practice, or we can call it resonance. I'll go straight there, so I don't have to use practice. So it appears I'm here tonight, resonating, feeling. That's where I'm turning on to. So if one were in these Zoom calls 10 times a day for 3 months, your call, let's say you held them that way, and I listened, or I was here, attentive, or, would I, oh God, here it goes again. Would I be any different after 3 months than if I didn't do that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
There may be a difference that may seem to take place, apparently. If it is meditation that is being done every now and then, there may be a difference there that may seem to, an apparent difference. But also, that too is just an expression of this. The desire itself, if it's there to meditate, then there should be a meditation. If there's a desire to do mantras, then mantras should be practiced. So, but when the desire is no longer there, even to ask a question, that's also an expression of this. So the seeing itself, this seeing as it is, without the knowledge in the memory, without the knowledge in the memory that I am a man or a woman, I was born in a certain area, the seeing itself as it is, without the knowledge that I see with my eyes, but the seeing alone is not anything that can be pointed at right now. It's not anything that can be held in view. Even what is being seen is also just the knowledge in the memory. So really, there's nothing is always seen and there's no seer. Something being seen is just a story, or a seer that is there who sees is just a story. But the seeing itself is not a story.
So I just
This
wanted,
seeing.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to
Go
share
ahead.
what I hear, Don, your question as being, is there a way for me to be more of this? Is there a way for me to be more of what I am? That's really the question. And in a way, that question makes sense to the knowledge. As Nkosi is saying, there's a way that question does kind of seem to be real to the story, to the knowledge, the story that's knowledge, that kind of. But now when we're looking at it, how could it? What does it mean? How could there be more of this? How could I be more of what is, more of what I am? As it doesn't. It's not going anywhere. It is it. It's already. That's what already means. There's nowhere to go from what I am, what is, what everything is, from everything. Where do you go from everything? But still, to the knowledge, it makes sense, because there's this story of, I can't quite be there, there must be more. Anyway, that was just my response.
And I mean, we keep hearing, like, it goes throughout every meeting, there is asserted, or there's a notion that there is no me. there's only this. And so, you know, this doesn't need more of this. It can only come from a me that wants to be more of something. And it's been, you know, I'm not saying, I mean, it's just, I somehow, it's become somewhat clear that if there is no me, there isn't anything to be done
Or get.
or gotten. Yeah.
Beautiful. Peter.
And somehow this thing called me, this story called me, with all of its knowledge, can't ever get. I mean, can't hear what you just said, and that's this too. That's it. It's funny when we keep talking about it.
Well,
Any last comment or questions?
It is just to thank you again, Nkosi, and everybody here, of course, but Nkosi, to give your time and commitment and your love or whatever it is that puts you in your chair. I get great benefit here, there, wherever, however it works. I get great benefit, and I appreciate I appreciate the honesty. I appreciate your honesty, your directness, that you don't seem to waver from what you're saying, and that's refreshing. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. Is this every Sunday or just some Sundays?
Yeah, it's every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Good night. Thank you,
Thank
Michael,
you, everyone.
for
We love
hosting.
you. We love
Thanks.
everybody.
Yeah. Beautiful meeting. Thank you.